Okay, good morning, everyone. Okay, I'm going to present our research. We tried to find if Mianzi, the Chinese concept of status, is the only phase of the Chinese wine consumer. Then, before that, we tried to understand the Chinese market. The Chinese market has a high potential for many products, including the wine. And China is very, very attractive to wine market, especially for the oldest wine producing country like France. And the wine consumption is showing a strong and steady increase of 20% per year over the last decade. And for that one, we can find a potential market segment of 167 million of consumers. That is a very, very important market. But the problem we found is we need a large scale and update study about the Chinese wine consumption, and it's for that we done our research. Okay, it's necessary for today. It's necessary to do a specific study about the consumer preference, the Chinese consumer preference, to make a strategy for the Chinese market. And for that, we analyze the different studies done about the Chinese market with very interesting findings. For example, I'm not going to explain all the study because we have only 10 minutes, but for example, Busbine and Chamiba find that the Chinese consumer of wine have a very important taste for wine, especially for red wine, but with a low knowledge about wine and only preference based on the country of origin of the brand. But this study presents some limitation because the sample was only a marketing manager of the Chinese wine firm. Another study, for example, Liu and Murphy, found that the Chinese wine consumer is normally a businessman over 40 years old with a high education, a high income, and low knowledge about wine. Normally, the consumption of wine depends on the occasion. Normally, it's for the Mianzi, the social Chinese status, for luck or for a good fortune, for health reason, for example, because they think that they contain less alcohol than the other drink. And I say having a good face, a fiancé in Mandarin. Okay, but this study presents again some limitation because it was only an exploratory study with only 15 participants in one only city, one only China city. Another study, for example, finding the wine consumption is important for Chinese consumer because that means an intellectual and success and an influence. But again, the study presents some limitation about the tool. They use only one focus group with only 36 Chinese-born wine consumer living in Adelaide. Okay, then conclusion. We found that the studies done, they present a small and convenient sample with only one or very few cities, mostly with qualitative approach and mostly with only wine attribute without consideration in individual characteristics. It's for that we decide to conduct our study. We did 1,260 questionnaire in November 2014 with an online questionnaire using Qualtrics platform. Our sample was a quota sample using age, gender, and income. and we use a simple nomic, like a panel company, a specialist in a Chinese market. We use three filter questions. The first one was the respondent were or are regular imported wine drinker. They earn more than 4,500 per month and living in a tier 1 or tier 2 city. That means 9 cities in total. The topic, we were interested in individual characteristics like residency, gender, age, marital status, education, position, and monthly income. Psychological variable like product involvement, consumer knowledge, variety seeking and price sensitive, and wine consumption frequency and typical spending. Okay, our result, we found 6 different clusters or 6 different groups. The first one was the different occasional cluster. They are the smallest group. They consume wine only to celebrate a special occasion, mainly in a friendly atmosphere. And on average, they spend between 219 and 305. It depends on the occasion, at home or out home. And normally they buy the wine in a supermarket, in a hypermarket supermarket. Okay. The second one is the wine lover cluster. They consume both for informal and formal occasion at home and out of home. They have a high level of wine involvement, and they spend more. The biggest quantity they spend 200 at home or out home. The third one cluster was the relaxed amateur cluster. They consume only at home and an informal situation. They don't have a high wine knowledge, but try to buy that what they like. They are quite price sensitive, and they are moderately interested in different grape variety, countries, and region of origin. The fourth one was the social networkers cluster. They drink wine only for formal occasion and business and lunch and dinner. They have limited knowledge about wine, and they are not interested in taste a new grape variety, countries, or region of production. They are the social network. The fifth one is the conservative connoisseur cluster. They are very interested, very interested in the type of grape. They have a conservative taste. Normally, they show a preference for a small number of type of grape and countries and region of production, with a high involvement in wine. Normally they drink at home, and they are not price sensitive. And the last one is the infrequent money mind cluster. We call that then the infrequent money mind cluster. They are extremely price sensitive. They drink wine only in a rare occasion. They are not interested in wine, and they don't want to increase their knowledge. The main motivation for consumption is wine, and good because it's good for health, and normally they buy in a hypermarket. Okay, then this is our result. What conclusion and discussion about our research? Okay, our study has a large consumer sample, and the results are very consistent with the literature. But we think we have some limitation. For example, the online questionnaire exclude the people that they don't have internet or access, or they don't have computer. And we think we need to include the domestic and potential wine consumer in order to compare, because we use only imported wine consumer, and in order to compare the domestic and potential wine consumer with the imported wine consumer. Also, it will be interesting to complement the study with an observational study about the actual behavior, like, for example, wine purchase in a store, quantity consumed at home, spending wine in restaurant, etc. And we think we need to increase the number of areas because we use only 9 cities, and it's not enough for a country like China.
Okay.